Hey guys, what's up? This is going to be part 3 of phase 1 of the IONIQ 6, I guess, speaker install series. So what I got today, we're going to be doing the rear door speakers. Hertz Tinto CX165 coaxial speakers. So these will have an integrated tweeter, and these will be going in the rear door. This is what they look like. There you go. There's the side. There's the back. Very substantial speaker. One little cool thing too is that this will swivel about 180 degrees wherever you need it to, which is going to be very important because the way the speaker is going to have to sit in the door. Now I'm going to just say this up front, and I will break this down in the description. But there's two ways you can go about doing this. There is the easy way, and then there's the hard way. The easy way would be to use 5 1/4 speakers. That's what comes in the factory door. So yeah, that's what you're going to get from the factory. So these are going to be 5 1/4 speakers, but they will accept 6 1/2s. And the way you're going to do that is, I'm going to show you guys. Basically going to take one of the speaker adapters. That's what it looks like here. And you're going to have to Dremel it out a little bit. And I will do that in kind of steps. The easy way would be to just get 5 1/4 speakers and just plop it right in here, put it in the door, call it a day. What I tend to find is it's very hard to find good quality 5 1/4 speakers. Furthermore, they tend to be more expensive. For example, I got these Hertz speakers, $150, but I think at retail they were $190, maybe $200, whereas the 5 1/4s were $250. Just to give you kind of the price spread there. So let's just dive right into it and we'll go from there. Okay, so step 1 is kind of like the front doors. There's going to be a small little cover here. You're going to pop that up just like that. Just like that. Just like that. And it'll sit there too. And then, now I'm not sure if this is getting any picked up in the camera here, but it is hot in my home, in this garage, and outside. And oh, that one's pretty snug. And so I got the AC going in the car, although that's probably a little pointless. It's just moving the hot air around. But I don't want to be sweating doing this. So that's going to be the first thing you're going to do. Sorry, got to count my tool scatter. There you go. That's the one screw. Set this aside. Place, so I'll remember where it is. Step 2. I'm going to remove this guy here. Just get in there. There's 2 clips. There you go. Nothing broken. Be gentle, of course. Okay, so here's some of the tools that I use to get this out. I am just dropping everything today. But here's some of the tools that I use to get this off. I have a metal one too. Since the paint's pretty nice around here, and it's a pretty tight gap, I just find these to be easier to work with. So what you want to do is usually start with the wedge. You gotta find your way in. Some are harder than others, but I've had good luck pretty much on all the doors, starting in this corner here. So once you get that in there, got your wedge, you just kind of have to work it out. And as you can see, sorry, my dog there. Just kind of have to work it out. Take your time. And as I said in the first video, you can always just try to rip the door off and replace clips later, which I won't lie, I've done before. Not on this particular car, other cars. Especially when you know where things are, you worry about it a little bit less. And the thing is, once you get one, they'll all kind of come off. So you just got to work around pretty gently. There we go. We got a nice little corner now. Just work your way around. Work your way around. I know it sounds terrible, but you're not doing any damage as long as you take your time. Okay. That is pretty much it. Lift up. I gotta move the camera out of the way. Get you guys in here. See if we can get that a little better. So first things first. Sorry. Obviously I got the camera here. It's gonna be first clip. Now this one, because there's a door switch or window switch, there's one more plug than normal. Take that out. And then the last one, maybe this guy. Take that out, pull forward. That's it. Door panel off. You want to go back. You want to work these extra clips off. Now, even though this is not broke, it's always a good idea. You can buy packs of these standard, I call them Christmas tree clips. Just buy them online. It's always good to have extra ones, especially if you do any amount of car stuff. It's also very important that you make sure you stick these back in the door panel. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take that out. Super easy. I'm just going to stick that right there for the camera's sake. Oh yeah, you're probably going to want some power tools because these screws are rather in here. You can obviously do it with a regular screwdriver, but you know, work smarter, not harder. There you go. And actually, you don't really have to hold it. There are two little dowel pins that hold the speaker in the door. So that's step one. So let's show our slight issue that we have. So I'm going to hold this speaker kind of like that. And this does have to kind of go at an angle, but you'll see, I mean, we're off. Not by much, but enough to make a difference. Look at that. And basically, you need to Dremel around this edge here. Sorry. You Dremel around this edge into essentially it's as large as where those screw holes are out there. I figure you got to take about quarter inch, between an eighth and a quarter inch. off in circumference and it fits right in. So I'm going to show a little of that, pause it, and then I'll get back. One important thing I want to note is before you do this down here, you want to line this up on the door, okay? And then you want to take your speaker approximately where it's going to sit, mark your screw holes, because you want to leave a little extra meat where those screw holes are going to mount. So that's really it. So let me show how that process starts and then we'll go from there. Okay, so this is how that process is going to look. Turn this down just a little bit. Pick a spot. And basically just going to cut away like that. Make this a little bit focused. And that's all you gotta do. So I'm gonna come back and finish this off camera. So give me a sec. Okay. As you can see, let's try that. As you can see, I got it pretty well reamed out, if you will. And that works perfect. Hold the speaker upside down. And as you can see, you got perfect clearance now. So, one other tip is, in terms of attachment points, it's going to be here, here, where that little mark is here, and that little extra meat up top. If it bothers you, I don't know if it will, the screw will go just a little bit into the door, but it's going to go into the plastic part of the door, specifically right here. And I'm talking like, I don't know, an eighth of an inch in the door. It'll probably leave more of an indent than an actual hole, especially with the layers of sound deadening that I put around the hole and in the door. So let's get to that process now, and then we'll go from there. Now, someone asked me before how much sound deadening I use. Sound deadening, sorry. And this is pretty much it. This doesn't even all go in the door. This goes in a combination. I always put it right behind the speaker, and I'll put in some of the flat spots where the wires are, and on the door panel around the switches and stuff, the typical rattle points. You don't need to get crazy. This isn't a 1978 Cutlass. It's not a tin can or, you know, 90s Honda Civic. You just put it in the obvious fat places, specifically right around the speaker. And to be honest with you, most of it is going to get used around here to help seal it up. So yeah, that's all you got to really do. Got a nice little round piece. I'm going to stick this right behind the speaker. That's it. Got the roller. I want to just roll it in there. Now I'm going to use more than this in the door, but a little bit goes a long way. Because really, the best example of how sound deadening works is to grab a tuning fork and then put a little bit of sound deadening on the tuning fork and hit it before and after, and that's the effect it has. You just want to add mass to the door panel. So this does add a weight, but not much. Well, this door skin in this particular case, and that just helps lower that resonance frequency to something that we can't hear, hopefully subsonic. So I'm going to do a little bit more work in here, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so this is where we're at thus far. you want to make sure you wrap it around good. Again, this adds mass, helps keep the vibrations down, lots of good things. And when you cut the hole in here, make sure you don't cut the wires, please. Make sure you roll your edges real good. As you can see, we got the door done pretty good. Gives you a good idea. So you got the one circular piece, one rectangular piece there, one rectangular piece at the bottom. There's another rectangular piece right behind here on the door, on the middle door skin. So that's really it. Go through, take the back end of this. This tool, this whole thing is a tool. It's a handle. Make sure you run everything down. And some cars, just doing some sound deadening will make a world of difference. This car's pretty quiet as is, but since we are going to be adding more speakers and eventually an amplifier in phase 2, we want to do everything that we can to minimize unwanted vibrations. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is take the original speaker, line up where it was. There we go. Actually, that was more like there, I think. Once you get that, you can use it as a template to poke your holes. Like so. All your holes are done. Make them as big as you need to. Now we're going to put our speaker ring in, and then we're going to do another layer of sound deadening over this, then the speaker, and all that. Oh, and just like in the front door speakers, you need to, this is going to sit here, the wire is going to be here. You got to make a little notch here, and I'll show that for your wires to come through. Focus, enhance, enhance, enhance. There you go. There's a little notch. Okay, so what's super interesting is that I've been checking all of the speakers. That way I make sure that I have everything, all its polarity going to the speakers correctly. So both front doors and both front tweeters, the polarity was incorrect according to the wiring guide. And I've done this method for years. You can look at it, and I've had good results. But if you notice, this one is backwards. Now, I haven't compared it to the wiring guide. Actually, let me look right now. Okay, so I just referred to the factory wiring schematic, and positive should be purple and what looks like green. Yes, so purple and green, which actually is negative, and then negative should be purple and orange. Yeah, purple and orange. And yeah, which was the reason why this is super interesting, is that the rear driver's side door was perfect. It actually matched the polarity and everything. So that was the only one that was correct. And which I guess in reality, what's more important is that all the speakers are the same. And what's less important is, I I wouldn't say less important. But as long as they're all the same, even if they're wrong, it will work. Technically, the speakers will be playing inverse, but it won't affect sound quality, and it's imperceivable to the human ear. But what you don't want is some wrong and some right, which is kind of the situation that's going on. So I'm going to go off my multimeter, and then I'm going to make sure that the positive according to my multimeter goes to the positive on the speaker in every position. And I think that'll hopefully improve a little bit of sound too, because when you have some right and some wrong, it will cancel out the frequencies, and you'll kind of get a weird effect. So I'm hoping that this will kind of help the sound quality overall too. And this is going to be extremely important when we go to amplify things as well. So yeah, I find that really peculiar. Okay, and this is kind of the end result before I screw it in, but there you go. We got the second adapter. We built it around with some of the sound deadening, so it's nice and solid. So I'm going to get it screwed in here, and we'll be good to go. So give me 1 second. I'll do that off camera. Yep, sorry about that. Got a little carried away, but the speaker fits in there just fine. Door panel went back on. You got to make sure you put your screw back here, right there. Put this panel back on. There you go. It's all said and done. And that is how you put speakers in a 2023 Hyundai IONIQ 6. I look forward to, shall we say, phase 2, guys.